Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Creative Exchange. Today I have a very talented friend, Tyler Stalman.
Hello. Hi, Sarah.
I need a clap track.
Oh,
I like,
should I clap?
Sometimes
I shouldn't be the one clapping.
I clap and sometimes I go, woo.
You need a soundboard.
I do. Oh my gosh, that's the next
Although
step
it could
of the
kind of ruin
Creative
it. I don't
Exchange.
know.
It could. Let me know what you guys think of a soundboard. I like sound effects. That's super fun. But you know what, guys? Today it's been a long day. I went to Central Park today.
Oh,
I did
okay.
some like hiking and stuff, shot some videos, and it is 90 degrees outside New York, which is...
Yeah, it was painful. I had a similar day. I was
Yeah.
in Prospect Park, and I got my first sunburn of the year.
There you go. And we're very similar in that we're very white.
Yeah.
So I think we can relate on sunburns, just the worst. But yeah, it was a warm day. Been sweating all day. It's been so lovely. You guys don't want to hear that, but
But the sweating's not stopping because your studio's pretty
exactly.
warm too,
And
but-
the studio's warm. But it is an honor to have Tyler here. And so for the people who do not know who you are, who are you? What do you do? What
That's
do you
a great
make on
question.
YouTube and in life?
Because most people shouldn't know who I am. Percentage of the population wise.
You know what, guys? You need to look him up because you might have watched one of his videos from just your recommended feed lately.
So the things that I do, I'll do like a really quick bio going back. I started out working as a designer at iStock Photo when it started in Calgary, Alberta, which is still where I mostly live.
He's Canadian, guys.
I am Canadian. I mostly live in Calgary. We have an apartment in Toronto because we work there a lot. But yeah, I worked at iStock Photo, and from there I ended up working at other photo websites. So I worked for Getty Images for a while. And with that, we did the relaunch of Life magazine, which was life.com. And also worked on the Saatchi Gallery website. So it was all these like art and photography websites, and the whole time I'm like shooting. So I was sort of always a photographer and web designer at the same time. And for the last few years, I've been kind of all photography and video and working on my wife's blog. So things kind of like YouTube, but in the fashion world. And all of a sudden, the last 6 months, my YouTube got bigger, and I've started a new podcast that is just interviewing people like yourself.
We double podcasted on
Yeah.
the same day. This
It's almost
is
like a
first.
two-parter.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So you guys can go and check out his podcast when you're done listening to this one. But tell me a little bit about your wife and what she does, because you have had an opportunity to, I guess, be the camera person and
Yeah.
like the behind the scenes, and we'll talk a little bit about like what you do on YouTube later. But yeah, what has kind of been your experience with social media with what you've done with your wife?
Well, so she has a fashion blog. Go to anyab.net to see it, or follow her on Instagram at anyab. And that's, I don't know, like kind of the fashion blog lifestyle thing. It used to be more specifically fashion. We do New York Fashion Week and, like all outfit photos and stuff like that. And now it's a lot more travel and general lifestyle. And that's been both of our jobs together. So like we are on the road a lot. We just came back from we were in Stockholm and Copenhagen and Malmo. And it's just like, that's what we've been doing for years, but it's always been focused around her. And I'm taking the photos. She's doing all the creative direction and working with brands to make that into a career. And then I decided to relaunch my YouTube that had been dormant for a number of years, and it went well. People were watching it, so I posted more. And so that's been kind of a new thing of myself being in the spotlight at all. But it's insanely fun. Like YouTube people are super engaged, comparing it to the Instagram world,
Right.
and also comparing it to the fashion world, like other people that do fashion social media stuff. It was a little harder to like create a community around it than I found it to be here.
Is there a community in the fashion world?
Yeah, for sure. It's but as you might expect, there's this like edge to it of people being sort of concerned about or protective, maybe.
Yeah. Because I feel like you have to either be super Vogue Carly Kloss or the Instagrammer.
Right,
you
right.
know, I think there still is that kind of like pinkies up thing about fashion, but so many people are out there creating their own brands, creating their own fashion lines just from like an Instagram following. So it's so very obviously powerful.
It's changing so fast and so much that if I try to define what it is, I'm kind of wrong. Because it's also a lot of things, right? Like everybody's doing something different. And we try to make sure that we have like a unique voice and a different perspective, because it's really easy to, especially the hyper minimal black and white look is an example of something that people start to look for a trend and then they want to replicate it and become part of it. And we really try to just be like, look, we're telling our story about the things that we do and what we're interested in. And so now, I'm extending that to YouTube, which is, my stuff's more about like technology and photography. And
so is there ever like a clash of creativity in terms of like, you have this vision, she has
absolutely,
another
for sure.
vision?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like, of course, it's a blessing and a curse of working together, because if we didn't, we just wouldn't see each other.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's true, and that's something that I found with
John. You guys work together too. Yeah.
It's so cool because we're around each other all the time, which is great, doing our creative things. But if he like worked at a bank, I legit would never see him.
For sure.
So I think it's really cool.
I mean, also when we talk to other people that are in similar situations of like having an Instagram husband or whatever, so often they're asking as a favor to have the husband like get into photography. Like, can you try picking up the camera a little more often?
And you were already in it.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was like
fun.
Yeah, it was already what I was doing anyway, and now I just have somebody that's
and I think
so
many things stem off of that, because someone, a couple that I've been following along. Do you know Kane and Pia?
I don't.
Pia, okay, so Pia, beautiful Instagrammer, model type personality, but then they started a vlogging channel together, and it's been like super entertaining, and he's like taking over the vlogs and like editing and stuff, so it's really cool for them like to see that. And there's so many different things that you can do on the internet now, and so you were kind of like, okay, I'm gonna revamp this YouTube channel, see what it's all about. Like, what sparked that? Like, why YouTube in 2018, or 2017?
I basically just started, I posted a camera review. I was like, you know what? I should be doing this. Like, I know I should be doing it. It's obvious. I'm looking at what other people are doing, and I'm seeing the potential to create a community, to be part of a community, to give back as well. I mean, I learned photography on the internet. Like, I absolutely, sometimes people are like, oh, are you self-taught? And like, well, I didn't go to school, but I was taught by people posting tutorials, like that's how I learned.
That's the new school.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, I got to do this too. And so I posted like a quick camera review that I didn't spend very long on, but it did really well. It had over 100,000. And so then I just posted more because it was working. So, but it's definitely been a challenge finding a balance of time, because like we already had a full schedule. It was already like, wow, we don't have time for life working on her channel. And now it's like, okay, let's have another one.
Right.
So, I mean, it's super worth it. And like, I love it, but it's definitely a thing of like, how many hours are there in a day? And so, I mean, we're here in New York for a couple of days, and I didn't get a chance to do any videos because we're working on client work for her. So nothing's coming out this week.
Exactly. And well, sometimes that's what's cool about YouTube though, is I think consistency is important, but at the same time, we were just talking about how you are your own boss and you can make your own decisions. And so, you don't have to kill yourself if you're not posting like daily vlogs.
I think the worst thing is when people think they have to follow some rule that they heard about. Daily vlogs being a great example that you were talking about with yourself, but moving away from them was really liberating. Like, so often people, that's a common one, is like, you have to post all the time. You have to be consistent. That's the only way you can build a brand. And it's not, like another example, I keep referring to the other conversation we just had. CGP Grey. CGP Grey is a great YouTuber, but he only posts out about a video a month or sometimes less, but they get a few million views. And so he's able to build a career out of it, because he sits there and he like keeps refining it and focusing on this one episode until it's great. And then it does really well. And you can do that. Basically, there just isn't a right answer. If you're making good, interesting content, like stuff people want to watch, then that's
and
what
we're
matters.
we're having this conversation when I feel like you're just starting, so it'll be interesting to see where you are in a year. It's like the sky's the limit.
I feel like I'm in the weirdest place of having done it forever, but I am also I'm only like 6 months into it, really, like almost all my followers are in the last 6 months.
Which is crazy. Is Canada exciting? Did you grow up in Canada?
I wouldn't, exciting's not the word I'd use, but it's great.
Okay.
It's really nice to live there, and it's hard to imagine moving to the States, but we also travel a lot. So it kind of skews my perspective of being in a smaller city. So Calgary's like 1.3 million or something. So, it's a real city, but it's not a big city. And then Toronto is a big city.
Toronto's cool.
Yeah, Toronto is cool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great stuff coming out of Canada right now.
A very practical question that I'm actually curious about,
sure.
is it, in terms of working with brands, that's a big part of being a social media influencer or a creator. Is it harder to work with American companies when you're in Canada?
It's funny because it can be a big advantage because they still need to reach a Canadian market, but there's a lot less people doing it, and especially doing it at scale.
So big fish and small pond
Exactly,
type thing.
So moving to the States, which some people do, it means that all of a sudden you're competing with way more people, but you might have access to bigger potential things. So people we know that are in our same space, like a lot of our friends now are just people we see at events that we go to all over the place. So we have the chance to talk about this a lot. And there's more money to be made in the States for sure, but it's harder to get to the same level that we're at in Canada.
Right.
You need to be a lot bigger in the States.
Right. So what would you say to the person that thinks that they have to be in New York City or LA to pursue something creative?
I mean, it depends what you're doing. Like, so a good example is if you want to talk about technology or products, you really can be from anywhere. We went to an event a little while ago that was a beauty event. So it was all these beauty vloggers, bloggers, just people making beauty content. And they were really from everywhere, like any small town. And it totally doesn't matter because it's all about your ability to connect with an online audience, to speak to a camera, to just be engaging on the internet. And that doesn't matter where you are at all. Like the background's the same in any city in the world. So, if you're not in a big city, just focus on your strengths, we end up traveling quite a bit because it can be exciting. Like it can just kind of trigger inspiration and give you more stories to tell, but you really don't have to. And sometimes for video, it actually slows me down because I end up worrying about getting around more and just getting through the day kind of traveling.
Whenever I travel a ton, I love being home so much. I just got back from being in LA for over a month. And it was good because it was winter in New York. I didn't want to be here, but now being back and the weather starting to be good again, I'm just I want to be here forever. And there's a special place in my heart for New York. I love it so much. And I think what is so fantastic about the internet is that it's the democratization of attention, right? So it's it doesn't matter if you're in freaking India or Dallas, Texas, you have the same shot at this whole internet thing. And so I think it boils down to, do you have a community where you are, or can you build it?
Well, and something you have to think about if you're in any of those smaller, it's hard if you're in a small town to apply this, but if you're in a smaller city, every brand needs to reach every moderately sized community in the city. They need to, they have events there, they have sales they need to get the word out about. They need to reach people locally too. So you don't have to, the big contracts are in New York and LA and Toronto. But there is a lot of opportunity anywhere. You definitely can go for it.
And that's probably where people are paying less attention to. So there's probably a lot to grab in those smaller cities because no one's really paying attention.
But we also have to say the thing of the don't do it for these reasons. Don't start it to go for a sponsorship or anything like that. The YouTube stuff I'm doing isn't breaking even at all right now. It's just what I've spent. It seems like it will be worth it, as followers grow, but mostly I just want to, because it's really fun.
And I think that's where it should start. you know, like there's a lot of YouTubers out there flexing. You got the Logan Pauls and stuff with the like sick Yeti and stuff. So I think in kids' heads right now, they're legit, and it's interesting because people are legitimately looking at YouTube now as a career. Right. And so I've been surrounded by people that hate YouTube so much, but they understand that they can be ridiculous and they can do crazy stuff and they can film it and put it on the internet and be successful, but they don't really like it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to hear people talk about YouTube as a career, like, yeah, man, just make a vid. Like, I don't really like it, but I can make money. So, and now to hear it like that, I'm like,
yeah.
What? This is crazy, you know, because I'm sure a lot of people in our circle who just like, we're creative, we like to create stuff. It starts out as something so pure and then you have to make it a job. So it's weird to see that flip.
There's so much reason to create it, even if you don't intend on making the money from it. This is a lot of what I was thinking when I started too, is like, it's also just about like reaching your community and becoming an active voice in it and becoming somebody that can have like, the influencer word, the I word, is kind of
the I word. It's
it's a dumb word,
cringy word.
But having actual influence, not like getting a lot of likes, but being a really active part of a community and being somebody whose voice is listened to, like that's what ends up feeling really great about it. So for me, that's like a lot of the time it's the camera community, and when people respond to me that I learned from, and they either retweet me or talk or will have a full conversation with me, I'm like, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Even I think what this podcast has become for me is just getting in the room with someone for 30 minutes to an hour, that if I didn't have a podcast, that conversation would never happen. You know, that's
the dirty secret of podcasts. It's just an excuse to
like talk shop and also to get to know people. And in terms of, like high profile people, I don't think they would ever, maybe they would never sit down and have a meeting with me if it didn't have any outcome to it. Because why? Like, people are busy. No one has time for stuff like that.
And then you're like, but what if I record it?
You record it, put it out the internet, you can sell your attention for them. Then that's interesting. They can promote their book. They can blah, blah, blah. And I get to be selfish and like ask them all of the questions I have. That's exciting. And so I think whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing is just like, the end game doesn't always have to be about money.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a big one right now. One thing I'm all about is Instagram stories, or, AKA Snapchat, if you're still on Snapchat.
Rest in peace, Snapchat. I left the moment Instagram stories hit the ground.
I know, me too. Well, so I posted, this is a while ago, so it's not that interesting, but yeah, I post a Snapchat and Instagram stories on the first day, and I was getting, like 70 views on Snapchat, and all of a sudden my first story gets like 700, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even try.
Bye, Snapchat.
Yeah. But so I would really encourage everybody to think a bit harder about their stories. Not that you need to put a ton of effort into them, but think about them as having a ton of potential. And I've started so my reach now on a normal Instagram story is like a poorly performing YouTube video, which is like pretty good.
Yeah.
So now I've started to treat them like really quick, hacky YouTube videos. And I think this is going to be the biggest thing in the next few years is like, people are watching them. They're real. They're way more real than everything else. Yeah. Everything other than podcasts. I think podcasts are the most real.
Oh, for sure. But Instagram stories are so easy to create.
Yeah.
And there is that. What's unique about Instagram stories opposed to Snapchat is I think that people can make them look a little bit more art or cool, but they still have that raw and real. So you can watch an Instagram story and be very inspired. Like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Yeah. But also, I get to see Sarah with a little bit more like personality, and she's just like out hanging with like John or something. Yeah. And that's what I think really captures people's attention, because it's similar to the vlog thing. Like, just straight up vlogging isn't my favorite thing ever, but it makes the audience, I think, feel more connected to you because it is more raw and real. Yeah. So when you are now approaching your social media channels, there's like a lot of potential for growth and like collaborating with brands now and in the future. How do you see that balance of creating awesome, cinematic, good, like stuff you're proud of, but also balancing that, I want my audience to know me. I want to be real. I want to be the real Tyler.
It's hard. I mean, I don't know. Like, I haven't figured it out because I go back and forth. At first, I wanted to make movies. Like I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I just realized how much more potential there is on the internet, like just posting stuff, posting whatever. And then even the fact that I'm talking about like technology, I'm like, I could just do my cinematic ideas and just talk about something else. So I just bought a new iPhone. Why don't I talk about that? And that went pretty well. So I'm kind of applying those ideas to everyday concepts. And I also feel like there's no good reason that the level of production on YouTube can't go up. And, I think you're part of that. I think like a lot of this New York community is awesome at it. But there's a huge community of really successful YouTubers that are like, I only have to use a webcam, so that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see people doing like just getting excited about making a shot look awesome, because
and being intentional with it. And I think that does come from like the more scripted content realm, where it's like you have on the paper, okay, the camera is going to zoom in and move to the left. It's so intentional. You said you wanted to make movies. Who like inspired you when you were growing up? Like, who are those directors and movies?
So a specific one is actually still motion. So it wasn't actually movies. I got really inspired seeing people make things on the internet that were super cinematic. So one would be Philip Bloom.
Philip Bloom, yes.
Yeah, Still Motion is from Toronto. I think now they're in Portland, and they were making like super cinematic wedding videos. I'd shot a few just doing photography jobs at weddings, and I hated it. Then I saw their wedding videos, and I'm like, wait, this can be awesome? Like, I didn't even know it could be awesome. And we're all kind of used to cinematic wedding videos at the time, but they were some of the first doing it, and watching those, like just seeing people that I'm like, I could do that. That looks beautiful and it looks inspiring, and like that could be me too. So those, and then just like as far as like filmmakers, I love Christopher Nolan. I just did a 2-part podcast thing about him just because I have a lot to say.
That's epic.
Wes Anderson's great. I don't know.
Classic.
Like everything everybody's gonna say. I'm not gonna have any new answers, but
Interstellar. That's Christopher Nolan, right?
Yeah.
Or am I blowing it? Okay. Interstellar is one of my like all-time favorite movies.
Good call.
Oh my
god! I was shocked when I walked out of it that a lot of people hated it.
No way.
I like full on was like, oh, we're all going to agree this is the best movie ever made, right? And then I start talking to people or listening to podcasts, and they're like, oh, the word, like some people hated that movie.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
It's weird because it's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm seeing Avengers tomorrow at 12.
I'm not going to say a single thing.
Do not say anything, but I've been seeing people tweet about it. I'm like, I have to see this movie.
You have to hurry up, yeah.
I know. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I have a lot of thoughts on like the spoiling of movies. So
shed them.
Well, but no, it's basically that, like, to me, and nobody has to listen to this, of course, but to me, the best movie experiences ever are when I'm totally surprised by a movie.
Yes.
So a good example is Gone Girl. So my wife took me to it. I'm like, oh, it's a girly flick.
Yeah.
It's a girly movie. I don't know what it's about. I've never heard of it. Have you seen Gone Girl?
I haven't, but I don't think I'm going to see it. Wait. I have seen Gone Girl.
So it's a David Fincher movie.
Yes.
Ben Affleck. So it has Ben Affleck. So I'm like, okay,
I have seen it. I can't believe I said that I didn't see it.
Okay.
I was thinking of Girl on the Train for some reason.
Because they're the names, But anyway, it was really good and like
shocking too.
It was so good because I didn't know it was going to be good. I thought it was going to be bad, and then it turned out to be very, very good, and that made me love it.
I feel like trailers shouldn't exist. There should be something, because I had the same exact experience with La La Land. So I went into La La Land thinking that it was a like this weird movie based on a different time.
Did you know it was a musical?
And I didn't know it was
amazing.
A musical.
That's great.
Okay, so I thought it was just like Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, like in a piece like in the 70s or something.
Right.
And I had no idea what it was about. And then they started singing in that opening number, and my jaw just was like,
yeah,
because I don't like musicals.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be in that theater if I knew it was a musical.
Totally.
And it's legitimately one of my favorite all-time movies.
You can suddenly have a bunch of experiences like that if you just like watch less trailers, read less reviews before you go see the movie.
Yeah.
A great example is From Dawn to Dusk, and I won't say what the twist in that movie is, but there's a big twist. I didn't even know there was a twist, and that made the movie like completely blow my mind. But then the inverse is like, so Pulp Fiction, I saw late. I didn't see it when it came out.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that you have to see and is very well regarded. And I just saw it so late and it was so hyped that I just didn't have any of the impact, because I was like, this is supposed to be the best movie ever. And then while you're watching it, every moment you're like, is this that good? Is it that good? And that can, I don't know, that can pull away from it. But I'm not right or wrong about this, but
if you could only pick one movie that is your all-time favorite movie, what would it be?
well, I couldn't. I mean, it'd be better to just say movies that I like. So I'll do that instead, because I can't be held accountable. It's like whatever comes to mind. I mean, when I worked at a movie theater in high school, right after high school, and on my name tag, you had to put your favorite movie, and that at the time was Goodfellas.
Okay.
And then at some point, I switched it to Memento when that came out, which is like the first big Christopher Nolan movie. So
heck yeah.
How about those?
Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Also.
Oh, that's a great one. So I have stories about that.
Really?
So I was just telling you that I worked on Life.com.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story of that movie?
Yeah.
Is that Life magazine is shutting down and they're going to launch it as a
Go
website.
digital.
And that was what I was doing.
What?
And they filmed it in the office, like in the Life office that I was working in. So I'm like, that's exactly where I was sitting. And I was the designer making the website.
You're kidding.
But the plot of the movie doesn't at all follow what was happening. In the movie, the magazine was still running into the 2000s and they were going to shut down to make a website. In real life, the magazine had been closed for like 10 years and they're going to relaunch it as a website. But I'm like, I am a character that would have been an extra in that movie.
I bet that was so cool watching.
Yeah, it was really
that.
interesting.
I freaking love that movie. Like Secret
It's
Life
good.
of Walter Mitty, La La Land, Interstellar. Those are definitely my. And then you have like the classic Monty Python and the Holy Grail and like stuff like that, where I could watch that just like 5 times a week and it still wouldn't get old.
You were saying like filmmaking or narrative filmmaking isn't something you're really aspiring to, even though you're making movies.
So I really don't go to the movie theater a lot.
Oh,
so I haven't seen a lot of classic movies, and because I am so obsessed with documentaries and just YouTube in general, like Vice.
That's a question I wanted to ask you and
yeah.
forgot to, is like, do you watch a lot of YouTube?
I do. I am a heavy consumer of the platform that I am on. So a channel that I've been really intrigued by lately is like Refinery 29. So they are doing such a good job of doing this kind of like short form documentary thing and making really interesting, compelling, topical content. They've been crushing it. But yeah, I'm obsessed with YouTube. Yeah. I'm on it all the time, and Netflix and stuff like that.
Because you were saying you don't go to the movies much. I don't watch a lot of YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. Like I do watch it.
Yeah.
But not much. No, like sometimes I won't watch any YouTube in a week at all.
Dang.
So
I'm on it all the time. All the time. Did you go to college?
I did. I went to like a technical college that was, it was like a multimedia course. So it was kind of.
Was it 2 years?
2 years, yeah. So it was just the basics of all the stuff I ended up doing, like photography, audio, video, web design.
That makes so much sense. As a person who went to college for 3.5 years, and I still feel like I didn't have the tools to go out into the real world and be a computer sciencer, a programmer, something that I'm so passionate about that I hopefully later in life we'll get a chance to like take a stab at is like education, man.
Yeah. Of doing it or being educated further?
Well, being a part of the solution to creative education. And I just think it's so...
Something I want to get into without doing it the wrong way is like creating courses. So it can kind of be a thing where like people online spend so much time creating courses, they're not really like creating anything real anymore.
Yeah.
But I also can find them incredibly valuable, and I know like it can be a good income stream as well. Yeah. So it's something I'm like playing with my mind is like how to do something in photography.
Yeah. From a creator perspective and like a business person perspective, I've been told that like digital products is so key.
Totally,
and I had a conversation with a CEO of like a hardware company. And it's so funny because the one thing that he said he tells everyone is don't start a hardware company.
It's called hardware because it's hard.
Exactly. Which is so fascinating because you think about all the products that you love and just like how much work that goes into it.
Well, I really saw it by working at iStock Photo. And so when I was there, it was, I was hired right as they started to pick up, like the traffic started to pick up. And so I saw the whole like massive spike going from making $1 million a year to $100 million a year.
Wow.
And it's because it's a digital product,
yeah.
because like a photo, you only create it once, like this cost is sunk at the beginning, and then you just distribute it and you're just sending it out.
So
and the potential there is just infinitely more than making hardware. Hardware is really challenging. So, but you know, like if you're going to do that kind of thing, like there really needs to be value for the people that are paying you for it. Like I really don't ever want to feel like I'm in a position where I'm selling something that's not worth it. Like that if you paid for it, you would feel like you didn't get your actual value. So that's why I haven't made anything yet, because I want it to be great.
Totally.
I want to be proud of it. So.
Oh, 100%. For the people out there who maybe they have a dormant YouTube channel that's been sitting there, they haven't done anything.
Get on it.
Or, you know, they want to start something. What is some pep in their step that you could put? Wow, I butchered that. How do you say that? Yeah. You know the question I'm trying to ask.
Even if you have not started a channel and you've been thinking about it forever, like just start something today and make it bad, and let it be good later. Yeah, for sure. Just start making things, because there can be a feeling of that people are already doing what you want to do, and like maybe your genre is already covered or whatever, but the whole market's going to be totally different next year and the year after and the year after, and there's going to be a new platform that we don't know about yet.
That's true.
Like we're at the very beginning of absolutely everything. Everything that we do has barely started.
Yeah.
There's like just today, Pocket Casts was purchased by NPR.
What?
Yeah, big crazy news. I'm a little worried about it because I bet they're doing it to put more ad technology into it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, this probably the second biggest podcast app, now owned by NPR, a conglomerate actually of a few public radio stations. But so that's just a part of that. Like podcasts, whatever they are now, they've been stable for a while, but are going to keep moving. And like, we don't know what any of this is yet.
And that's a area that is so going to be disrupted soon. I think audio has been the same for such a long time. And in terms of distribution and the platforms that we're listening to them on, and that's something that I've been kind of talking about in my videos as well, with all these smart home speakers, and audio is really becoming just this.
How do you listen to most of your podcasts?
AirPods on my phone.
Okay, what's your preferred app? Is it Pocket Casts?
I think it is, like, hold on. No, Overcast. It's Overcast.
Because when you said Pocket Cast, Overcast is the best.
When you said Pocket Cast, I'm like, wait, do I use Pocket Cast? Yeah. But it's Overcast.
I love Overcast.
Yeah, Overcast is cool. But I think audio is something that, also on the content side of it, I think Gimlet Media has been the one to really like shake things up.
For sure.
If you guys are looking for more podcasts to listen to, Gimlet Media. And I think that if you can come in and do something more inventive than just interviewing people, dude, like
what's more creative than that?
Like, you know, because so many people are doing that. And like selfishly for me, it's something that I've been doing since the beginning of time of me, like just interviewing people. I love it. And so me doing something different would be totally out of my wheelhouse, and like it wouldn't be comfortable. But I think in terms of audio,
I would love to do a produced audio show where I treat it like videos, and it's like I'm writing it out, and I'm intentionally including a bunch of content that I go out in the field and record. Like it'd be really fun.
Because that's some like reporter-ish too, you know. And I think I love consuming that type of stuff, like Gimlet Media stuff. And so there's a lot of room to innovate. But in terms, a lot of you guys that listen to this are probably more into video as well. But don't be discouraged by the platforms that are happening, because things are evolving.
Totally.
Learn, be flexible, and just go for it.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, thanks for being on the Creative Exchange. Where can people find you?
Oh man, good question. Just search for my name, which is Stalman, Stalman, and you'll find all my stuff.
Cool. His YouTube channel, podcast will be in the description below. Thank you so much for being on the show. Okay, I totally forgot what I say at the end of these. Keep creating. I think that's what we landed on. Stay peachy. Keep creating. Thanks for tuning in, guys.